evening, everyone. And the time being 6:30, I declare the ordinary council meeting of August 1, 2023 open. Persons in the gallery are advised that under the Local Government Act 1993, a person may not tape record the proceeding of a meeting of a council or committee without the authority of the council or committee. Tape record includes a video camera and an electronic device capable of recording speech. Mobile phones must be turned off so as to not disrupt the meeting. Anyone, including councillors, found using a mobile phone will be told to leave the meeting immediately and for the duration of the said meeting. An audio recording of this meeting will be taken for minute-taking purposes as authorised by the Local Government Act 1993. The meeting is live streamed on Council's website to allow the community to follow council debates and decisions without the need to attend meetings in person. Members of the public attending or speaking at a meeting agree to have their image, voice and personal information, including name and address, recorded and publicly broadcast. Strathfield Council does not accept liability for any defamatory remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of a meeting. Any part of the meeting that is held in closed session will not be streamed. Councillors and members of the gallery, please note that the microphone for streaming purposes is sensitive and will record all sounds in the room. The mayoral diary for June 23 and expenses claimed by councillors has been tabled for your information as per resolution of Council 147/19. Councillors, in accordance with the mandatory provisions of the Model Code of Conduct, I remind councillors of the obligations to which you swore by taking the oath or affirmation in that you will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of your ability and judgment. So can we please stand now for our prayer? We pray that our deliberations today will be objective and decisions are impartial, made for the benefit of the whole community. And in recognition of our traditional custodians, let us begin by acknowledging the Wongal people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Thank you. So we have one apology this evening, Mr. Memo.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we've received one apology from Councillor Warren that he is overseas and is unable to attend.
Thank you very much. Any disclosures of interest, councillors? No? So acknowledgements. I have one acknowledgement and it is for the Cooks River funding. Okay. Thanks, Melissa. Sorry. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. I wish to acknowledge the Federal Minister for the Environment, Ms. Tanya Plibersek, for her contribution of $10 million to the Cooks River Rejuvenation Project. The Albanese Labor government is investing $10 million to better protect and restore the iconic Cooks River in southeastern Sydney. The funding will be used for activities including tree planting, riverbank stabilisation and the installation of litter traps to support the restoration of waterways at Parry Park, Cox Creek and Bardwell Valley Coolabah Reserve. The project will improve the habitat of aquatic species, including the threatened green and gold-billed frogs, as well as providing the community with better access to nature, including a new paddle trail. The project will be delivered by the Cooks River Alliance, in which Strathfield is a part of, and also in partnership with Indigenous Rangers. This is part of the federal government's $200 million investment in projects that help community groups, NGOs, councils, and First Nations groups clean up and restore for local rivers and waterways. This includes activities like planting native species along creeks and building small-scale wetlands to improve water quality. A fantastic result, and looking forward to the future of the rejuvenation of the Cooks River. So, are there any other? No. All good. So, confirmation of the last minutes of the ordinary council meeting. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Reddy, seconded by Councillor Blackmore. All in favour? Unanimous vote. Thank you. I have one mayoral minute. And as per the agenda, I move that the mayoral minute as written in regard to the leasing of Burlington Road, Homebush. Is there any discussion around that, councillors? Yes, Councillor Regan.
They put out for tenders, and tender is going to close in 2 days, or 2 days. You're having between, and what the mayor has suggested, it could include community groups who provides the facilities, not exclusive. We can't expect the legal aid to come and set up a law. I couldn't understand exactly what you were saying. If you could be kind enough to explain.
Sure. So the request for tender for the Burlington Road was for community groups to make sure that they're leasing in the community areas, and it's just an examples that I gave in the services that could be included is the Migrant Resource Centre, Women's Health and Health Services, and legal aid. So different community groups can be set up in that area. Extraordinary. Sorry, what was that question?
My question is the community groups who are providing these services will be preferred.
That's right. That's right. It won't be council officers, because normally in other councils provide that service, but we're asking community groups to come in and use that space and provide the service. So does that make that clear?
And when is the closing date for the tender?
In 3 days. Yes. Yes, councillor.
Yes. Is your, just a question actually, is the intention that these are the only groups that we're having in the tender?
No,
Is that
no, it was just a suggestion in the EOA that we could have anyone come in but as long as it's representing a community and how it can help the community, and that's probably why we're putting up that Burlington Road as a centre. All good? Okay, I put it to you, councillors. All in favour? Yeah, unanimous vote. Thank you. So now we'll go to items by exception. Can I have a mover for that, please? Councillor Hall, seconded Councillor Reddy. So we go to the council agenda. So the first one will be page 21, CCS1, Local Government New South Wales Annual Conference. That won't be, sorry. The first one is CCS2, Amendment to the Code of Conduct, Child Protection and Safety. Yep. Page 92, CCS3, Investment Report, June 23. Page 113, CCS4, Councillor Workshop, 18 July 2023. CCS6, page 211, Graffiti Management Policy. Councillor, are you right there? Yeah. Yep. Page 218, CCS7, Tenders Advised and Awarded in July. The next one will be open. The next one by exception is 358 EOI parking management options.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring that out. Yeah. Page 360, EO2 Stratfield Golf Club, Blue Tree Project. Page 366, 11.1 report from Wellbeing Advisory Committee meeting held on May 31. Page 371, 11.2 report from Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting 28th of June 2023. Page 378, installation of bollard lighting, Airy Park Pathway, councillor Data. Page 379, provision of gym equipment in Stratfield Park, councillor Raj Data. That's okay to by exception, councillor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By exception, page 380, tidy shop fronts pilot program, councillor Matthew Blackmore.
Yeah.
All good. And CCS8 general managers 2022-2023 performance review. All good.
Yeah.
So I put the vote. So I'll put that to you, councillors. All in favour? Unanimous vote. There's no public forum this evening, Mr. Nemec? No. So we go to first report. CCS 1, page 21, New South Wales Local Government Conference. The sheet. So councillors, if you wish to send 4 delegates to the Local Government New South Wales Annual Conference, rather than the one recommended in the report, the councillors' expenses and facilities policy can be amended when it comes back to council as sufficient monies has been allocated for the 2023-24 budget. So we can send more than one persons to the Rose Hill Conference in November. So we now need to vote for who will, so councillors, how many, we're allowed to send up to 4 delegates to this council because of the amount of councillors in our council. So do we want to send more than one? Yes, okay. So who would be wanting to come to the council? I know I would be. Councillor Reddy? Councillor Baird? Councillor Chai? Isn't Hill? Okay, can Councillor Maheswaran decide to go, or does he need to have a decision made? What's the deadline for the
registrations, there's, sure, that's not, it's in the report, but,
because I know he did say that he wanted to go, so can I put him down as a question mark?
Oh,
Possible attendee?
No, because I'm just going.
If you can confirm by before, say,
20, that's gone.
Sorry, that's not. Oh no.
28th of September.
yeah, the early bird's 28th September, and the ordinary registrations are 27th of October.
So we have time.
Let's say.
The end of August. Okay, so we'll put down Councillor Maheswaran as a entity and to be confirmed. Councillor Hall, were you saying?
I was just going to recommend, like we did for the last conference, where we just email in if they. And I've got to go back and check.
Okay.
They got all wrong. So if we could just email, but if there's already 4, and then you miss out.
No, there's only 3. Because Councillor Chai can't come.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to suggest.
So if you can make it, well, same as Councillor Maheswaran
We'll just
by the end of August, if you could let us know, that'd be great. Okay, councillors, so is that all we need to vote on? Yeah. So we'll be sending possibly 4 delegates to council conference in November. What's the last line? Thanks, David. Just go down. No further report presented yet. Suitable motion. Oh, yes, and also suitable motions for the conference. There's a deadline for that too, Mr. Warwick.
Yes, there is, Madam Mayor. That date is they open on the 24th of July and they need to be submitted by Friday, the 15th of September.
Right, so motions that we've got, but it has to go to it has to go to a council meeting before it goes to
The next meeting.
Yes, you do that, Memo.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So what we're asking for, if any councils have motions that they would like to submit for council to consider as being approved by council, they are provided to us by the middle of August so they can present it to all councils as part of the next workshop, and they will come to the next council meeting in September for consideration and endorsement to go as part of the notice.
And there's one more. This Watson, you could.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just back with recommendation 1, the councillors who are attending also need to select a voting delegate.
Right.
So one councillor can be the voting delegate of the 4 who is for another.
Right. Okay, so do we need to do that tonight?
It's recommendation 7.
Okay, so we need to vote on the voting delegate. Sorry, we need to stop for one moment.
Can all 4 vote? Oh, okay, apologies. The recommendation, we just, sorry, we might amend it so that it actually reads.
That's in
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Because
so,
we've only got
but
one
can
on
I
there.
just say there are 2 types of voting in this meeting. So you need 1 delegate to vote on the notices of motion, and then you need 4 delegates to vote in the new setup of the. Oh, right, so I've got 4 in each.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was just one for the motions and 1 for the. Okay, so you'll all be voting, whoever comes to the. Okay, so we just need to record them as voting delegates. So
Part of the.
as part of the motion, as part of the report. Okay, but we need to confirm with those 2 councillors. Yes. All right. So all in favour, councillors? Thank you, unanimous vote. All right. So we go to CCS5, and before I ask for a mover and a seconder, I'd like to ask Ms. Watts to explain the report, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Actually, sorry. Actually, what?
On the disclosure.
Disclosure. Because members on the committee, member of, and one actually the son ran on the by-election ticket in 2017, so I'm just disclosing that, and I'll stay in the left.
No problem. Thank you, council. Thank you, Ms. Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We thought it would be good just to address a few things in tonight's paper regarding the Strathfield Town Centre Master Plan Working Group review. So I'd like to address a couple of those items before you discuss the paper further this evening. So at the outset, we did want to make it very clear that the reason for the review and now the report before you this evening is that there were concerns that were identified as potential under the current terms of reference for the current working group. And that if the working group, if this was not addressed, it had potential to function in a manner which was not consistent with the original intent of the working group, which, as I understand, was more or less to facilitate a discussion amongst stakeholders. As you're aware from the report, the current structure of the working group has a number of conflicts of interest, either perceived or actual, and a more robust governance framework needs to be put in place. As such, the recommendations contained in the report are provided so that council is able to agree on a way forward whereby appropriate segregation in decision making is established and key stakeholders and other interested members of the community are able to be engaged regularly throughout the preparation of the draft master plan. I understand that there may be concern about the use of the term property developers in part of the report and part of the review, and that this may or may not be the correct term of reference for some or any of the stakeholders involved. I do personally apologise if that term has been unintentionally used incorrectly, particularly if this use has caused any concern or angst, as there was no intention for that to occur. However, regardless of whether stakeholders are property developers or landholders or others who are mentioned in the paper, the same conflicts of interest do arise. What is important is that the framework, such as what is being proposed and put in place, which enables council to demonstrate a good governance, enables council to demonstrate good governance and ensure that we are transparently engaging with our key stakeholders in the community and enabling everyone who should have input a fair and equal opportunity to do so. It is really important for council to not be perceived to be favouring one group versus another group or particular stakeholders or members of the community. Lastly, it is vital that your role as councillors and key decision makers in determining and approving a final master plan is not conflicted. This means having a clear governance framework in place which does not put you in a position of being perceived to have drafted the plan, which at the end of the process you will then be required to make a determination on. In essence, it is designed to ensure you're wearing the right hat as a decision maker as part of the process. As if you were to wear both hats, there are then conflicts of interest, which would be impossible to manage and would take you out of the decision-making process. To be clear, the structure that is being proposed is ensuring the most important role you play is the role of decision maker, and that role is reinforced, and that you'll be regularly briefed and able to request updates as required, as you normally would with any other work that officers present to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So I need a mover for this report, councillors. Councillor Dada, seconded, Councillor Reddy. Any discussion?
I've actually got a small amendment. Like to thank Mrs. Watts for her comments, and I think this is just another one of these things. It's sort of a legacy issue that we've done a really, really good job at reviewing and fixing up the governance and transparency in Strathfield Council. The amendment that I'm adding, and I'm happy to hold it out once it's on there. It's mainly around the consultation engagement piece. Yes, it's on there.
It's getting ahead.
And it's basically just allowing the proper framework and the proper things. And so I'll just read it out quickly that as part of finalising the governance and probity framework for the Strathfield Town Centre Master Plan, that a comprehensive stakeholder engagement plan and stakeholder communication plan be provided for council approval, which clearly identifies how all key stakeholders will be regularly engaged, including opportunities for consultation throughout the development of the draft master plan to ensure the views of the community are considered as part of council making a final determination of the master plan in the future. And that the draft roles and responsibilities for the project team be amended to strengthen the reference to liaise with key stakeholders to in line with the stakeholder engagement plan and stakeholder communication plan for the master plan. The project team will regularly engage with key stakeholders, including providing information and seeking feedback, and that the local strategic planning statement, LSPS, be adjusted at the next review to reflect the intent for regular and proactive engagement and consultation with the community on the development of the master plan. This is basically I was sort of around just a little bit around when the original stuff was done on the master plan, years ago, and I remember attending a local forum for the community, and there was stalls and there were staff and consultants and the like, and you would go there and talk to these people that ask questions, and they said, "Look, we can't answer your questions. Thank you for your question, and we'll send you an email back." And there was lack of responses and lack of transparency. And there was an investigation about that process years ago. So this is just about making sure there's a proper plan and proper engagement with the community so that we actually know what's going on a lot of people would like something nice to happen in our town centre and to be done, not, ad hoc, to actually be done in line, everyone on the same sort of page. So I think this is a really, really good review that we've done, and will really head the council in a good direction and transparent direction.
Thank you, councillor. And I believe that this governance that we're putting in framework today should be putting every master plan that we do in any stage of council's planning. So I think this would be a good idea to have that in all our master plan projects. Thank you very much. Any other discussion, councillors?
There is an amendment that I put through. Is there?
Oh, one moment. There's a second. Do we need a seconder for that amendment? Councillor Blackmore's amendment? Councillor Reddy? And councillor Dye, do you have an amendment as well?
Yes, there is an amendment that I have.
And seconder for that? What's a foreshadow? Okay.
Not
Yeah.
portion of the amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. You can only ever have one motion and one amendment before the chair. So if councillor Data wishes to add something to councillor Blackmore's amendment, he would need to get councillor Blackmore's approval to do that, and also the seconder. If they don't approve to add that to their amendment, then you will have to wait and vote the amendment out before you can move your motion, your amendment, sorry.
Previous motion, I'm just through the chair.
Yes,
taking
councillor.
chair. The previous motion, I was the I seconded was
Yeah, you were the mover and councillor Reddy was the seconder.
the motion.
So that's the first motion. Then councillor Blackmore put in an amendment, and his amendment has to be moved and seconded by councillor Reddy. And if you wanted to put your amendment in, you can do that now, but it needs to be accepted by councillor Blackmore and councillor Reddy. But if they don't accept it, we need to vote on the current amendment, and then we come back if you want to foreshadow if this amendment doesn't go through. Is that clear as mud?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I accepted the previous motion, so let's see. Okay.
So you're not going to,
I'm
would you like to add your amendment to councillor Blackmore's amendment? Because it can be included in this
That's what I'm
amendment if
saying.
councillor Blackmore approves.
cannot it be for third part? That can be like.
That's what you say, you put up there,
You
then
put
we
up
can
your,
say yes or
you
no.
put up your third part and then councillor Blackmore will say yes or no.
That's what I was proposing.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
what
Go
I'm-
ahead, councillor. You can put your third part in now, councillor.
Yeah. So the third part that I'm proposing,
Yes,
as part of the governance and probity framework for the development of the master plan, specific responsibilities be included which align with appropriate project management methodologies for a project of this nature.
fine. Councillor Blackmore, do
Yes,
you approve that?
definitely.
Do you second that, councillor?
Yeah.
Fine, so that becomes part of the amendment, councillor councillor Dutta. So now we need to vote for the amendment. All in favour? Okay, unanimous. Now we vote for the motion. Yeah, all in favour for the motion? Unanimously, thank you. That's the CS5 done. Then the next one we go to now is page 219. The report in regard to fire safety report. Councillors, this is the first time we've had the fire safety report brought to council, and prior to us talking about it, I'd like Ms. Harley to give us a little bit of a background to that report. Thank you.
Through you, the leg route is issued to council by Fire and Rescue New South Wales. They issued them on a regular basis to councils across New South Wales. When they've conducted an investigation of the property and identified fire safety issues that require action from council to resolve the issue. And that's done under the Environmental Planning and Enforcement Act. Council must table the report, so we must table a report at the first available opportunity. And the items that Fire and Rescue have identified in relation to this property, which is 29 to 35 Burlington Road, Homebush, is concerns about smoke alarm, there's concerns about water leaking, the electrical outlets into the ceiling, no emergency assembly points, referral numbers or procedures. So the next steps are that council officers will physically inspect the building as a matter of priority. And then we will provide another report to council outlining our recommendation and seeking a resolution about whether or not to issue a fire safety order. In recent years, you would note that council has not been receiving reports about letters out. I can tell you that council's been receiving in the order of 8 to 10 a year. They have been dealt with.
Without council's knowledge? Yes.
We are rectifying that by reporting them to you in relation to under the regulations in the Act. But it means that we have been dealing with them. They have been investigated and the issues have been resolved. So moving forward, we will be reporting them to council.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harlan. Councillor Hall, before I do that, Councillor, can I have a mover for this report? Councillor Reddy and a seconder, Councillor Data. Councillor Hall, discussion.
I have a question. So I think that's the building sort of just after the Standard Fresh.
Yeah.
I don't know who the owners are. So I don't know whether I may have is that the
There's multiple different.
that's what I mean, there's multiple owners there, is it the body corporate, who is it? Because I don't know, so I don't know whether I have a conflict. I may have, but I don't know who the owners are. So maybe the best thing for me to do is to put in my form, I don't know who I don't know.
Hang on.
Did this go out, did this notice, is it going to go out to all the owners or just one owner?
That goes to Ms.
Sorry,
Harley,
through the,
chair, Ms. Harley. Who would get the report,
the body corporate will get the report.
body corporate?
And
So-
the draft manager will also contacted, they need to provide access to it. So I don't know who's on the body corporate, I haven't got a clue, but I do know that there is one owner that I do know. And so,
That lives in that building.
I don't know whether he lives there,
He's a proprietor.
yes, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure, but I'm not certain.
No
So
problem.
just to be on the safe side, I think I may just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we,
Still
I think we probably should get some advice.
And I try
You
to
will.
leave the room.
One
Yeah.
moment, one moment,
I'm
councillor.
a bit concerned.
It's a non-procurement, non-significant.
I'd have to be what?
I think probably most councils would know somebody
That lives in that
there or
building.
has it in there or.
Yes, Mr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In regards to your pecuniary interest returns or an interest at a council meeting, I think there's an expectation that you be aware of your personal contacts, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, those sort of relationship. I do not believe there's an expectation that you will know every friend that holds every property, and especially with a strata. There might be people there that you do know, but you've got no knowledge of. I think you've got some protection in that way. But if you haven't got any concerns and you think you do know someone there, and you're doing the right thing by reporting it, and you've declared a non-pecuniary significant interest.
Because I think somebody
Yeah,
that.
and that's
that
fine.
is
And how you deal with that is up to
quite
you.
close
Okay.
When I say close, it's not irrelevant or anything, but like, you know, we've had several discussions, not about this at all, and not about the building at all, the building at all, but, you know.
No problem, councillor, if you want to leave, you want to leave the meeting, that's
So
all.
I'll just.
Thank you. Blackman, are you doing the same? Just a little pause while we wait for councillor Blackmore to fill out his, just to let the, residents know. See, I know everyone in Stratford, like I know. most
Oh,
people in
really?
Stratford.
Settle down.
Yeah. I know 20,000 people in Stratford, you know. Are you gonna do it as well? Then we won't have a forum. Matthew leaves, we won't have a forum. If Sandy leaves.
They don't really stand for tenants.
They're tenants, they're not owners. Matthew leaves as well.
You can determine, you can still then stay, be present in the meeting.
That's fine.
Okay.
He's saying,
Councillor, yeah, Black.
oh, right. Okay. Sorry.
She did. Oh, so saying.
Do I do it for you?
You know, attempt. Yeah.
We own it. Let's defer it. Let's defer it.
Sorry.
So sorry, everyone, but we need to adjourn for 5 minutes. And we'll need to turn on the cameras, I think. Right. So just for 5 minutes adjournment to reassess this. Thank you. I will give it back to Christine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, just one.
Oh, she's signing out, sorry, signing out.
Have a noting.
She
No,
wants
no,
to,
she's
she
still
wants to
She's
stay.
got a
She's
conflict.
got a
She
significant.
wants to stay, she's written significant conflict.
Okay. Thank you, councillors, and I apologise for the delay in the meeting. So after some discussion, I will now refer to Ms Watts to explain the reasons why we needed that break. Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Through discussion, we've come to learn that council owns a portion of part of the property that we've been discussing as part of this report. Therefore, we recommend that council receive and note the report this evening, but enable our council officers to deal with this as an operational issue going forward.
Thank you very much. Dear councillor, everyone in favour? Thank you, unanimous. Oh, sorry, did I have a mover? I think I had a mover and a seconder. Ready and done. Yep. Okay, all in favour, unanimous vote. Thank you. Right, thank you, councillor Hall. Right. Now we're on to EO1. This is going to be good, councillors. So page 358, councillors, EO1. So the recommendation, councillors, is for yes, that council endorses the parking strategies for Strathfield LGA in accordance with the concepts outlined in this report. I need a mover and a seconder for this. A mover, councillor Reddy, councillor Data, a seconder, councillor Reddy. You don't put your hand up for anything, councillor Child.
No, I don't need it. They always put very quick.
They're too quick, aren't they? Yeah. So councillor Data, I believe you have an amendment to this motion.
Yes, I have, may I have the amendment on the screen, please?
Can you read the amendment for us, councillor?
The amendment that I put through before was that council endorse the parking strategies for Strathfield LGA in accordance with the concepts outlined in this report, with the residents of the Strathfield local government area being provided with 1 hour free parking per day at those locations as a part of the resident permit system, and for 2 hours free parking per day to be provided to residents of the Strathfield local government area for the Homebush West car park.
Entire, everything.
So, yes, so I agree, I concur. So what I'm saying is the initial, that is what I presented the same, but I'm accepting a recommendation by Councillor Reddy that it is a 2 hours free parking for all residents of this community. So I'm just accepting the proposal that.
Sorry, so now you're changing the amendment, councillor Data?
I'm accepting the amendment.
Okay, can you make that change to the amendment,
Yes.
please?
That the council endorse the free parking strategies for Strathfield LGA in accordance with the concepts outlined in this report, Being provided with 2 hour free parking.
2 hours free parking.
That's
So
all.
you want to take out that first line?
No,
Change it.
2 hours, just 2 hour free parking.
Excuse me, councillors, not, I need more than, I only need one councillor to speak.
Yes,
Thank
2
you.
hours free parking per day. That's it for all
Councillor-
residents.
Councillor Data,
from Bush West car parking.
Yeah, delete it. That
councillor,
deleted.
please state your amendment, please.
That council endorse the parking strategies for the Strathfield LGA in accordance with the concepts outlined in this report, with residents of the Strathfield local government area being provided with 2 hours of free parking per day for all locations in the Strathfield LGA.
Right.
At all locations in the Stratton. Right, thank you very much, councillor.
Parallel conversation going on.
Councillor Blackmore. Thank you very much. Councillor, is there any other further discussion in regard to this? Councillor Blackmore, do you have anything?
Look, I'd like to move a further amendment. That, basically the same.
So if councillor Data and councillor Reddy accepts this amendment, it'll be part of the amendment. It's an addition to the amendment.
I want to change that actually, so.
With that foreshadow.
Sorry,
Sorry.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I had councillor Data, councillor Reddy moving the original motion.
Yes,
And then I had councillor Data and councillor Reddy moving the amendment, which was the one which was
councillor
agreed on.
Data has,
So if that's the current situation, councillor Blackmore can't move another amendment. We're in the same position we were before. You
Right.
only had one motion and one amendment before the chair.
we haven't voted on the amendment.
So that was the actual motion. The amendment is actually the motion.
Yes,
So we only got one motion, then councillor Blackmore
Yes.
is right to move an amendment.
correct.
Sorry.
So your amendment now is the motion, councillor Data.
So we need to vote on the motion.
No, because there's an amendment from councillor Blackmore. Thank you. Thank you, councillor.
So my amendment would be to alter that section, and it would say, being provided with 1.5 hours instead of 2 free parking per day. And the next line would be that, parking meters not be installed in the Homebush West car park in the next financial year. Can I speak on that?
Yes, you can speak on that, councillor.
Look, I just think.
You need a seconder for that. I've
You
seconded.
said, I think, yeah, wait a minute,
That's all right.
so I can speak.
You can speak on it, yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's more appropriate that we have 1.5 hours free parking. Just because our businesses always are ringing us and complaining about the cars that park there all day and park there in 2 hour spots, they'll park for 2.5 or 3 hours. So I think by having the 1.5 hours, you're still going to have people parking there for more than 1.5 hours, unless they pulled up to the spot and a ranger was waiting for them at the spot and saw them park the car and waited there for 1.5 hours to find them at the end. I just think we've actually got to look at our business areas and look at the turnover of the shoppers for our businesses. It's going to be many less cars and customers parking every day for our local shops, and they're already struggling in these economic times. And I really wouldn't want to burden our local shops with lower profits.
And what you're saying, councillor Blackmore, is if you put in a 2 hour free parking, people will stay longer. The 2 hours.
Look, I'm not an expert on this. I probably
Have you experienced it?
I'll probably ask some advice through the chair, the staff, if people ever will park longer in a one time spot, whether they'll park longer in it.
Thank you,
Can I
councillor.
get it?
Yeah, sure. Who would be,
Through the chair?
through the chair? Okay, Miss,
Through the chair, yes, it is the experience of council officers that vehicles do, consistently overpark, beyond the parking restriction on.
Thank you. Councillor Reddy.
So we have to accept the amendment or not?
Excuse me, we're still discussing.
There was no limit in most of the areas, so which was like park as long as you want. What Councillor Blackmore is suggesting is 1.5 hours. I would say 2 hours because I'm a mom and I shop always. It's really, really impossible for me to finish, and you can't expect me to always run with my trolleys and bags and trying to run in 2 hours. And I can't afford to take a chance that somebody's gonna not find me till 2.5 hours or something else. So 2 hours is reasonable if you're genuinely doing some work, if you're genuinely giving business to the local people. They understand. People go around your shops, they look for things, they buy, and nobody goes to one single shop, they go to another shop. Butcher takes really, really long time to cut your meat, process your meat and give it to you. So I can't really order once and go and come back. So 2 hours, I think, is minimum, and residents will really, really curse us if we make money on them for no reason.
It's not about making money, Councillor Reddy, and I understand your concern. I think what we're trying to do is to make the turnover for our cars not to be parked in areas, in our business areas, for longer than what they should be, because our businesses are complaining that there's not enough turnover of their business because cars are there too long. It's not about revenue, it's not about making money, it's about the process of cars going in and out of our business areas. If we put in, look, we're going to make a decision tonight in regard to 2 hours or 1.5 hours. I think giving 1.5 hours is long enough for a person to do their shopping. And maybe go over that 1.5 hours, because unless you've got a parking ranger standing right near your car, you're going to get that 10 or 15 minute leeway. And if we give 2 hours straight away, then there's no way we can go back. But if we need more time, we can review it in 3 months and then we can give the 2 hours. But if our businesses are telling us that they're getting more route turnover because the cars are able to come in and park, then it's going to be beneficial for them. And then we still get and residents still get 1.5 hours of free parking on, and you have to reconsider this only on the parking metered spaces.
Can I ask a question, Madam?
Councillor.
The amendment that was the motion moved by myself and Councillor Reddy. Do we need to, by law, do we need to accept this amendment or not?
No, you can accept it or not accept the amendment, Councillor.
So the debate should be after we have accepted or rejected, isn't it?
No, we debate it now and then we ask you whether you're going to accept
But
it.
that's, I'm asking to the officers, to you, if I
Yes.
can get a clarification on that whether the amendment should be accepted first before the debate or not.
Yes, so we will be voting on the amendment first.
They have to.
Now, how that could be?
Excuse me, Councillor,
Yes,
Mr.
please.
Memo. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. At the moment, we have one motion, one amendment. Motion moved by Councillor Data, seconded by Councillor Reddy. The amendment is Councillor Blackmore and Councillor and the Chair, Madam Mayor. The debate, as soon as you finish the debate, you put the amendment, you vote on the amendment. If the amendment is lost, you vote on the motion. If the amendment is passed, then the amendment becomes a substantive motion. You vote on that motion, and if it's passed, it's the resolution of the council. Okay, it's just your
One
normal
moment.
procedure.
Clarification.
One moment, Councillor Reddy, you'll need to stand up. I'm sorry. Through the chair.
That's what I'm asking.
Councillor.
Amendment was moved
Put through that chair.
until the chair, the motion was passed by Councillor Data and seconded by me.
Mhm.
Even the amendment was proposed by Data and Reddy. And if we lose it, then the
No, because, can I just explain to you,
that
Councillor?
amendment,
You can reject
That's-
it.
That's exactly Councillor, what Councillor.
Excuse me, Councillor Data, Councillor Reddy. the change in the motion came from councillor Data and that became the motion. It was not an
So
amendment.
that becomes a real motion.
Yes,
Thank
okay.
you.
We are now discussing councillor Blackmore's amendment of 1.5 hours. And we're going to be voting on that amendment first.
Councillor,
No,
my
no,
question has not been
I
answered.
seconded.
My question still has not been answered from it.
Excuse me, councillor Data, I am still talking. Thank you very much. We will be debating and we will be voting on the amendment first because it was moved and seconded by myself. And now that is a true amendment. And we need to vote for the amendment first and then we'll go back to the motion. If this amendment is lost, we will go back to the original motion. If the amendment is passed, it will become the motion and then we vote again.
My question still hasn't been answered. Can I ask
Can you
a question?
stand up, please?
Yes. The question is, the original motion was moved by myself and Councillor Reddy.
Mhm.
And Councillor Blackmore has presented an amendment, you have seconded that.
Correct.
At the mover of the original motion, do we have the right to accept or reject the amendment?
Take a seat, councillor, and I'll ask you to.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. The mover of the original motion has a right of reply to end the debate.
So that's
That's all you have.
But you don't have to accept the amendment.
Okay, so
We still have to vote on the amendment.
I have the right to close close my
Yes.
motion.
We haven't talked on
No, we can't close it yet until we vote on the amendment. Correct?
The debate will progress until there is no further debate required from any of the councillors. Once you have reached that point, then the mayor will ask you to vote on the amendment after you have given your closing right of reply.
That's
Okay.
so I still have that right.
That's right.
Yes.
That's what closes the debate. If you don't want to exercise that right, you just say you don't wish to
I
have a
do.
right of reply, right?
That's right, I do. That's
But you
what I
only do that when
That is the
all the
point.
other debates finish with the councillors.
Correct.
Yes, correct.
So, councillor Data, you have the right to reply
That's correct.
to
That's
end
what
the
exactly
debate.
what I
So
was
just
saying.
before we do that, has anyone got any? Councillor Hall. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Councillor Chop. Oh, who wants?
You first. Either up to you.
Deputy Mayor third.
Councillor Chop,
No, I think a lady first.
All right.
pick me up.
Okay, so this was part of, this report was part of my original motion. And it was to investigate opportunities to increase parking revenue. And when we talk about, it's not about parking revenue, it is parking revenue in my motion. By implementing a non-resident parking fees using parking meters and enforcement measures. And then requesting a report. So what's happened to my original motion now is sort of not what I had intended. However, it's council's decision. So my issues are, at the moment, we have council parking areas and there are parking stations, so there are parking machines. The parking machine, you have to enter in your number plate and you get some of them 2 hours, some of them 3 hours free. Would that be right through the chair? Yeah. Or are they all 2 hours? Whatever it is.
It'll move on 1 hour.
Oh, an hour.
They're all 1 hour.
Oh, what else?
Some are
No,
1 hour.
the one at South Strathfield is definitely 2 hours. Definitely two. It's even there. It's definitely 2 or 3 hours.
No point. Go ahead.
So, but that was that. So I don't want that to change. So when in my original motion, my intent was that residents can park there. My opinion is 2 hours, but I'm open to 1.5. You lost me at number 2, councillor. Number 1 was fine, but then when it comes to number 2, because that then again pulls away from my original motion. What about what I want to be able to do is catch
and be this and have the whole area basically
Same.
be the same.
Mm.
So what I'm trying to do, and in order to make it the same, the people that have spoken to me, the shop that have done, and the restaurants that have spoken to me, have said that minimum 2 hours is what they would expect. The ones on the street are 1 hour, and half an hour. But the ones in the parking station, especially at South Strathfield, need to remain 2 hours. And that's the feedback from some of the retailers to me. The other issue is I want to be able to, the whole point was to catch non-residents. So I don't understand the concept of residents parking for 2.5 hours and not being penalised. If it's an automatic machine, automatic car park where it picks up so it's not going to be picking up, it doesn't pick up I thought we were getting installed the ones that automatically pick up your license number. Yes?
Through the chair, that's a technology.
There won't be.
So the
We've just-
technology so the new meters, what type of technology will they do? Question.
Through the chair, the new meters are proposed to be paid by plate parking meters. They'll be cashless. In terms of license plate recognition, the intention is that we would fit it to one of the ranger's vehicles. It wouldn't be as you enter and exit the car park.
Okay.
Automated.
But you still get so
You'll have to register. You'll have to register as a resident.
yeah, you have to register. That's right. You have to register. But if you're over 2 hours, then you should be able to have to pay as you exit. That's the whole point.
You're right.
To the jet. So that's what I don't understand is how is a resident going to be able to put their number plate in and then not pay?
Okay, through the chair, it would operate similarly to a resident parking scheme. So residents would have to show that they are a resident of Strathfield and provide their license plate details to our customer service team. Would then upload that information, which would go to the parking meters so that the parking meters
Right.
would recognise that they are local residents.
Right, okay, thank you.
And if they stay 4 hours?
If they, yes,
So they wouldn't be permitted to stay 4 hours. We do have a grace period on the parking meter time.
So then they would be charged after 2 hours.
that's, I'll finish.
You've got 1 minute, councillor.
Yeah, that's okay. So, okay, that is the type of system that I was after. So then what I wanted to do is keep it consistent, allow for what the residents are allowed to have now. And like I said, South Strathfield has 2 hours and anything less than that, the restaurants there and the hairdressers and the others are going, it's going to be a bit problematic for them. It's also, I have heard also a couple of the restaurants in Homebush that would like, people don't, stay for a meal for an hour and a half, maybe it's 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. And so, it's problematic for them. However, the street ones are still half an hour or an hour along Burlington Road. They're still 1 hour. So, I'm just giving my intention when I actually wrote the motion, and it was to make sure that we capture non-residents without in any way penalising our residents. That's my intent.
Thank you,
That was my
councillor.
intent.
Thank you, councillor Hall. Any other discussion, councillors? Oh, councillor Chai.
Madam Chair, I think, my concern is, at the beginning of these matters is I remember in the 2021 campaign, parking in the Strathfield council car park. I was fined 112 something money for that because I only pressed one button. Oh, okay, I didn't press the second one. I was fined. I think, and also for the Homebush West Shopping Center, the parking is 2 hours per day. That one confused a lot of people. They call me, why this one only 2 hours? per day, but actually you can in and out for 2 hours. But that confusing a lot of people. A lot of people only see 2 hours. So I think, one of the issue is the, the meter system need to change, make people
We are
more
changing.
easy to use.
Yeah, okay.
That's one of the, I think of this motion is supposed to be.
Mhm.
Okay, secondly, personally, I more prefer to support 2 hours. Because some of the people, maybe they park along the street. And the Strathfield Council don't want people to park on the street, whole day. Maybe they are not live here and as a commuter place, to go to somewhere else to work. This is, I think, 1 hour, 2 hour, I think not very difference, but 2 hour may be better because maybe they can have work going a while to the place and to the station or something. So 1 hour, 1 hour or 1.5 hours, maybe a little bit too short. Okay, that's what I think. And for the, I live a long time in the Homes West, and Homes West, is a good place for people to eat. A lot of restaurants. I think about 40 something shops in there, more than half is the restaurants for people to eat. And a lot of people, they even, I personally, okay, I'm the restaurant owner, before I become the councillor. I can feel that many of those people come and eat in the lunchtime. The fast way I can see from the Clyde, very far away to Flemington to eat, and a lot of times, some of the shops, they have a long queue outside, people queue outside. If you only have 1.5 hours, maybe they worry, maybe they can find, and then maybe you put these people out from the area to eat. So personally, I think 2 hours, maybe, you allow them maybe half an hour something to queue for the food, and maybe leave a little bit time for them, to get some, grocery things, go together with them. And at the time when they, finish work, they don't have to go shopping again. I think that's great ideas. Okay, so personally, I'm supporting for 2 hours. I'm okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
We don't have the bill. Thank you. Okay. So any other discussion, councillor? And now you're going to close. Thank you, councillor Dalton.
So before I start my closing statement, I would be just asking the same question again. So when it is placed for voting, the first item will be for voting is the amendment. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
Which amendment?
It's only one
One
amendment,
and a half
councillor Hall. Councillor.
So I wanted to make sure. So councillors, I have been around for a long time. And I have gone, I'm still living here. And I'm connected to the people, not just by talking with real people. When there about some years ago, the Homebush West parking was initiated. And the general manager of the time put a 1 hour parking limit in that area. As a result of that, there was a strong commotion in the community for the reasons that people thought not only shoppers, but also the shop owners, they all believed that 1 hour was not nearly enough for them to do groceries, shopping, eating, do their hair. As a result, it was reversed. The 1 hour parking was moved to 2 hours parking. Not only that, the local businesses are losing business, despite all the everything we have heard. That is fact. The reason they are losing business was you go to Strathfield Woolworths, there's 2 hour free parking. 3 hours. Use 3 hours. You go to Greenacre, still probably unlimited, I think. So why do people park there to buy some groceries for 1 hour and jump around? It's impossible. So I think I agree with the intention of Councillor Neela Hall's initial motion and the sentiment that has been presented by Councillor Reddy and Councillor Chai for the benefit of residents, for the benefit of shop owners, for the benefit of local shoppers. So I will be asking all of you, including me, Madam Mayor and Councillor Blackmore, to reject amendment and vote for the original motion when it comes in fruition. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Right, so now we're going to vote for the amendment, councillors. So all in favour of the amendment?
Tonight,
No, you can't. You've just spoken, councillor Chai. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you've already spoken. Okay. I now have to put the amendment that councillor Blackmore and I seconded. All in favour of the amendment? Councillor Blackmore, councillor Pensabeni. Against the amendment, councillor Data, councillor Hall, councillor Reddy, councillor Chai. So the amendment has been lost. So we go back to the original motion and I put that to you, councillors, for the original motion without the amendment. I'll wait for
The motion before.
Yeah, so
Oh, we can have them.
the original motion that the council endorses the parking strategies for council LGA in accordance with the concepts outlined in this report, with residents of Strathfield local government area being provided with 2 hours free parking per day for all local locations in Strathfield LGA. This is the motion we are voting on. All in favour of the motion? Councillor Data, Councillor Hall, Councillor Reddy, Councillor Chai. Against the motion, Councillor Blackmore, Councillor Pensabeni. Thank you very much, councillors. We have now resolved that motion. Fine. We go to the next. Oh. So without any further to do, anything urgent for councillors to report? Any further urgent business? Matters of urgency, no. And it is now 8:49 and sorry, jet lag. It could be 8:15 in the morning. I don't know what time it is. 7:49 PM. I declare the meeting closed. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Time for me to vote against.